guys, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm a huge fan of the show.
Oh,
huge fan.
thank you.
And I want to start presenting your characters, okay? So talk a little bit, please, about Galadriel.
So Galadriel is thousands of years old, almost as old as Middle-earth, older than the moon. She is chasing an evil that she feels is rising, in doing so avenging the death of her brother Finrod.
Halbrand is a human from the Southland. He's at a crossroads in his life. I think he's leaving some things in his past behind and he's trying to start a fresh life. And then he runs into a few obstacles along the way, which change his thoughts and create a kind of cool dynamic between him and some other characters in the show.
Okay, I hate spoilers.
Yeah.
But I heard a bird told me that maybe Halbrand is Sauron. Is that true?
This theory is filtered through to me. I don't quite know where it's come from.
I love hearing who people think is Sauron.
I like, I mean, it's one of the theories out there, I guess. It's news to me. I think there's a few characters in the show that have this air of mystery. And as we watch, you sort of learn more and more things and I think as the viewer, you'll be taken one way to be like, oh, hang on, maybe this person is this. And then the next episode, you'll think the complete opposite.
Middle-earth is a dangerous place at this point as well. So everybody's hiding something. Everyone's trying to protect themselves, which hopefully will mean that people won't know.
Yeah.
Each of us must decide who we shall be.
Do you think sometimes it looks like real life? Everybody struggling, seeking power, a little bit of politics in between. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, what I really love about Tolkien is his value of gentleness, humility, and friendship. And I think that's something that luckily I do recognize in my little world anyway. And that's what I think so wonderful about him. He created this enormous world that, there are huge powers, but amongst that, there is small moments of kindness and mercy that change the course of history.
I always heard Lord of the Rings, and finally we are going to know the rings.
Yes.
Because the first 3 movies, there are just one ring, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very, very nice.
I think it's cool to see the origin of some of these stories, and it's one of the most eventful periods in Middle-earth. The events take place over so many years, so there is quite a lot of space in between these events for things to happen, and of course stories in between them need to be fleshed out. But I remember watching the first time I was only a kid, and I watched the prologue of the Fellowship of the Ring, and I was like, hang on, tell me more about that. There's so many amazing stories in there, and it's the source, the rings, and then eventually the ring is the source of so much turmoil and pain for.
Our characters have no idea was coming, even the wisest amongst them.
It's a very complex story, right? It's a very complex script. This is not the most important thing, but have you ever dreamed about how famous you're going to be in a few months from now?
No, I don't feel normal in any of this, and I think it would be odd if we did. All of us are very new to this, and so kind of all clinging on to each other as we go down this kind of these rapids of the river, I feel. But it's really exciting. I mean, I just keep remembering how much joy I've got from watching fantasy throughout my whole life as a child. And so to be part of that, that's what I kind of focus on. It's a big honor.
I think what you said about the characters not knowing their future, it can apply to us, because it's like, I'm just trying to stay present, which I find challenging in life anyway. Amidst all the madness, and just trying to experience it and not think about the next step or where we're going.
I mean, we're in Mexico City being interviewed by CNN Brazil. Exactly. I never saw this coming.
That's it. Maybe you I'm trying to convince everybody to shoot the second season in Brazil, maybe. What do you think about that? Some locations, have you thought about that?
It'd be very cool. There's some cool locations.
You have a very, very beautiful places. And which rings are those in your hand?
This is a ring just with the alphabet on it. I don't even know.
Which you accidentally threw in the bin yesterday, didn't you?
I lost this in the bin,
Really?
Yeah, and then thankfully Nikki, who is like a guardian angel, managed to find it because I couldn't find it. Yeah, this ring's been through a lot in the past 12 hours.
Were you a fan before being selected?
Yes. My dad read me The Hobbit when I was 9.
Really?
And I remember just just loving it. And I think The Hobbit is such a great thing for kind of a young child because it's not as dense or as terrifying as Lord of the Rings. And then the films came out when I was 11, and that brought me to the books. And now this has brought me to the Silmarillion and the Unfinished Tales. So, I mean, you could read Tolkien forever. Yeah. And about Tolkien forever.
I used to play the video game.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Which one? I was Two Towers, were you?
Yeah, I think I played the Two Towers. That was the one I played the most.
Commander! Wait! No! We keep moving!
You know, the story is already written, you know, the whole story. But you have, I think, some opportunities to create your own characters, to create your own stories. How fun is that?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously there are these huge things that happen in the Second Age, but there's not much detail on how they all connect and the motivations of the characters within there. And I think the showrunners have done a really beautiful job in laying a foundation for all these things to happen and creating these amazing stories that interweave with all the events that those of us who love Tolkien know and love and can't wait to see on screen. I can't wait to see them on screen.
And I think no matter how much you know about Tolkien or not, he created just a world of magic. And whatever point you step into that, whether it's The Hobbit, whether it's The Lord of the Rings, wouldn't step in first the Silmarillion. Quite intense. And the idea that people's first step into Middle-earth might be through our show is amazing.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was a great, great pleasure talking to you, and congrats, you were amazing.
Eventually, one or the other must surely break.
Well, guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm very impressed with the 2 first episodes. I want to start with the dwarfs, okay? Well, first of all, I need you to talk about your characters very quickly, just to explain for the people who haven't seen yet the series.
Sure. I play Durin. He's a prince. He's married to Disa, and he's in line to the throne in Khazad-dûm.
And I play Princess Disa. She is Prince Durin's wife. She's a mother, and she is a hearty, formidable female dwarf who has the kingdom's best interests at heart, and of course her beloved husband.
Me? Who am I?
Yeah.
King of the elves, man.
But they don't have the point ear, you know?
No. Well, it's distracting in public. People always, they want you to save them, and, it's such an issue.
Well, you're talking about fantasy, right?
Sure.
And it's a great, great story. Have you ever thought about being inside this series, playing a character of this series? It's a huge production. How's that for you?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not as an actor, but I certainly, as a kid, played Lord of the Rings in the woods, making bows and arrows out of sticks and crawling around like Gollum. That's kind of what I did, which I don't know what that says about,
I'd like to see that one.
me.
You have to show them, right? Yes, I have to show them, sorry.
Well, if you're good at something, never do it for free.
If you want to play it right now, I'm okay with that, okay?
No, I can't take someone else's performance. In terms of actually being invested in it and actually being part of the cast, no, I think it's surreal even now. And because we feel the excitement of people wanting to see it, it's nice that we were so excited to make it, and we'll meet in the middle and everybody will be happy.
You have to learn the languages, you have to, learn different stuff from this fantasy world to play the characters.
We did a lot of physical.
That's it.
Yeah, we did a lot of physical stuff, didn't we? We kind of learned the physicality and grandiose of the dwarfs. We kind of asked to be together for some of the movement sessions so that we could kind of be in sync with creating this, which was great. And of course the accents.
We had quite a lot of time before we started shooting, and so we had loads of time we discussed a lot together as well, over at each other's houses having a cup of tea. But yeah, it was cool doing the physical side of things, on discovering how dwarves would walk, how they'd interact, how they'd eat. They're from the rock, so it's kind of, that had a heavy influence on the physicality of it all. But also what I like is they're quite relatable as a couple, because it's all quite domestic as well.
Honeymooners over here.
Yes, So yeah, it was fun.
It's fun to discover the marriage, to discover the relationship. We've seen kind of dwarfs, on their own. We've never seen kind of a love and a kind of united mutual respect and how that functions. It was really great to discover and play with that, and especially with this one.
Oh, stop it.
I always heard about Lord of the Rings, but we just saw one ring in the first trilogy, right? Sure. So I was going to be, discover the other rings now. And it's going to be, I think, very, very nice, right?
But, I mean, there are 19 rings in the books, but we don't want to know about how the rings come to be, or just watch it. You're going to be glad.
No spoilers, right?
No, of course not. There are rings.
Yeah, that's it. I'm from CNN, Brazil. So you shoot in New Zealand, which is a great location. But how about Brazil? Have you ever thought in shooting in Brazil? Maybe some part of the season, 2 or 3, who knows?
If it was my decision,
amazing.
I'm there like a shot.
Like a shot.
Absolutely.
Have a chat to the team. Have a chat to the production team.
Which cities?
Eu quero vai Brasil. Is that right?
Eu quero gravar no Brasil. No, you can do it. Eu quero gravar no Brasil.
No Brasil.
No Brasil.
Eu quero
gravar
no Brasil.
A segunda temporada
A segunda temporada
de Anéis de Poder.
De Anéis de Poder.
Okay, now they're calling to shoot in Brazil. That's gonna be okay. That's it. Okay, that's exactly what I said.
I'm happy with that. Eu quero beber caipirinha agora.
Right now.
Ah, well done.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for having me. It was a great, great pleasure. Congrats on your job.
Thank you.
Thank you so
nice
much.
to meet you.
Without it, what am I to be?